John Wick, played by Keanu Reeves. Not like lame-ass 90s Keanu Reeves. So the movie starts. John's wife has passed away. He is attending her funeral, and he's upset about that. She was pretty much the only thing he cared about. There's a lot of death in this film, so this is going to bring us to something I like to call a little bit for the homies. We're going to have one for Mrs. Wick. You didn't even make it to the beginning of the movie. John goes home after his wife's funeral. The house is empty. It's a nice house. He's just kind of sulking. He doesn't really know what to do. Until that night, he gets a knock on his door. It's a postal service. It's just like, hey, like you're John Wick, and he's like, yup, I'm John Wick. They're like, good. This dog is yours. Sign here, jackass. That is a cute ass puppy. All right. There, I said it. And it turns out that this is actually a gift from his late wife. The exact day of her funeral that he would get this puppy from her. So that way he would have something to love besides his car. In the letter with the puppy said, like, the car doesn't count. You gotta love a thing. He's looking at this puppy and he's just like, all right, Daisy. I guess we're in this forever now. We're gonna drink for Daisy. The next day, he takes Daisy for a walk, and he's just got a dog now. That's his life. He brings her for a ride in the old Mustang. They're at a gas station. Like they're just kind of like most of the front of the beginning of the movie. He's just kind of doing chores with a dog with him. So while he's at this gas station, he runs into Theon Greyjoy. And he's like, oh, hey, like sweet ride. And he's like, how much for the car? And John's like, just kind of give him the old, like, you couldn't afford it, you know? And he's like, not for sale. And he looks at his boys and he's like, damn, come on. That evening, John wakes up. And he goes into this kitchen, and then, boom, he gets like a freaking lead pipe to the face, I think. And there's all these guys with masks, and they're just beating the shit out of him. They've come for the car. Somehow they got John's address and noticed his car. One of them, Theon, I think, like lifted up his mask, and he's like, hey, how you like me now, bitch? And the puppy starts barking. And one of them's like, "Oh, shut up, the dog!" And then they killed the cute puppy. John wakes up the next day covered in blood and piss and shit, you know, and like it's like, oh, good. John's definitely the type of guy. You'll learn this in a few minutes. He's the type of guy. He's got two settings: mourning his wife and kicking the living shit out of people that have pissed him off. Then it cuts away to Theon. Theon's talking to his dad, who's some Russian crime lord kind of deal, is what we got here. I think his name was like Charles. It wasn't. Dad's a little upset. He's like, hey, so I had a phone call today that you stole John Wick's car and killed his dog the day after his wife died. John Wick used to be the baddest hitman on the face of this earth. And he used to work directly for Theon's dad. He was called the Boogeyman, or Baba Yaga. And Theon's all like, oh, I ain't afraid of no boogeyman. And then Charles is like, no. He's not the boogeyman. John is the guy you'd call to kill the boogeyman. Meanwhile, John has all his hitman stuff. This entire movie, after this point, is basically a 2-hour overreaction. This film is basically Taken, but with less justification. John's got like a pistol and a 3-piece suit, and he frickin' kills just about anybody who makes eye contact with him for the rest of this film. John catches up to Charles, the mob boss, and he's like, hey, tell me where your son is. Charles does what every great parent would do. And he immediately sells out his kid. And then John's just on the loose. He's cutting him open and he's gutting him. He gets a shotgun, like not like a shotgun. It looks like something from Halo. It's pretty fun to watch, not gonna lie. I dare you to try to sleep through this movie. Finally, he gets to Theon, blows his head off. And then finally, we get a throwdown that we never thought we needed. We get a final throwdown between Charles and Mr. Wick. All right, and they're just kicking the shit out of each other, and it's like half car chase, half gunfight, half knife fight, half just boxing match, just bare knuckle. They're like by the docks too, like they're always by the docks. Oh, and it's a thunderstorm, naturally. Okay, the worst we've ever seen. And they're fighting each other, and then finally John, I think, just stabs him, and then they both gave us one hell of a fight. I've certainly seen worse, I can tell you that. After that, he's kind of like bleeding out, and then he like just walks, and like he passes a vet. Anyway, long story short, there's a dog there, and guess what? He's John's now. Like, we're gonna be okay. Oh, yeah. And he just kind of starts jogging home. John Wick.